welcome to the Innermost Podcast, where we explore, acknowledge, set right, and show gratitude for our deepest, most private, inward thoughts, emotions, and experiences. As always, you can write to the show anonymously and share your thoughts, your experiences, or a story that you would like to share on the podcast. I am your host, K Joy, and welcome to the Innermost. Wow, it is still Monday morning, just shy of Monday afternoon, the day after our Super Bowl, the Chiefs versus the Eagles. Eagles came out victorious. I wasn't expecting such a blowout to start with. Even those 22 points that were put up on the board by the final score came very late in the game. So the Eagles pretty much dominated the Chiefs for the duration of the Super Bowl. But I mean, you know, I think this morning, for most people are speaking more about Kendrick Lamar's halftime show than the Super Bowl itself. I personally have been fighting a very nasty cold these last few days and just was bedridden really the last couple of days, trying to find my strength so that I can get back to, work and things that I have to do. It is February the 10th, 2025, 11:39 a.m. It is Lincoln Day. Schools are out, teachers are out, I am out, and I have just been really marveling over just the halftime show performance, and just so interested in the interpretation of the performance, and it blows my mind really how many people really miss and continue to miss those subliminal, I don't even think they're subliminal anymore, the symbolism, the messaging that's out there with so much that's going on. Prior to the Super Bowl, in these last couple of weeks, I've been really inundated with these FAFO videos. I don't know if you've had a chance to check them out, but if you know what FAFO means, F around and find out, which was really I believe it was coined by, there was this famous YouTube, like a pretty popular YouTube, what would you call it, like a little skit or something with this lady talking about effing around and finding out. So it's something that's pretty popular in culture, what the meaning of that is. And so it's interesting that I've been watching these videos, and it's just been about how many MAGA supporters are coming to regret their support for MAGA in these recent weeks, since President Trump has been in office and things have been taking place. So you've really been seeing like rapid change of events going on in our country. And so the timing of this Super Bowl performance by Kendrick Lamar couldn't be more epic or perfect. I mean, just completely crazy. But let's get into it. There's so many videos already out there. There's so many people talking about it, so I don't really want to beat this horse that I don't really think is dead, honestly. But it was so much going on, the introduction itself. And it's funny because I am not into like the rap, hip hop beef, all the music and all that. The culture and all those things. Now, don't mistake that for, of course, I don't hate the culture. I'm very much a part of the culture. But I'm not into, like, I don't follow the beef and all that kind of stuff. This is way beyond. And it pains me to hear people keep bringing up, like, oh, the Drake and Kendrick. This is so far beyond the Kendrick and Lamar beef, the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef. This is like American politics. This is like Black American. This is like sitting in their living room getting a history lesson of what it's like to live and survive in America for us. And what's most important was even more mic drop moment for it is it came from the voice of the West Coast. And if you look at historically West Coast music, and I know I said I'm not really like deep into, all the ins and outs of hip hop and all that, but I do know very much about the culture of hip hop and different things, just growing up around it. But West Coast artists have a history of not giving a damn and say what's on your chest. You understand what I'm saying? Like that's just the attitude. That's what the way we grew up and way we raised, you know what I mean, in the city, is that you say what's on your chest with your chin up. You understand what I'm saying? Like all the way back to NWA, political movements. Even when you see Ice Cube came out at the Dodger game, during the World Series, Ice Cube straight up dissed the Yankees. Was it the Yankees that he dissed? I think was they playing the Yankees yet? Or it was before they got to the Yankees. Regardless, Ice Cube, they was like, what? Ice Cube didn't... Everybody that's from the city, LA County, they not surprised because there's a certain attitude that is within that West Coast culture, within the LA County culture. Like, you raised, like, you don't bite your tongue. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you say that shit, you say it with your chest. So anyway, we could go back and forth getting into it, but just the beginning of the performance, I really was hoping he would deliver, and he did. And it sucks. It sucks because so many people still miss it. And even most of his fan base, most of Kendrick Lamar's fan base, which sucks, is that like a lot of the performance went over their head and they didn't even understand the concept of the performance. They still stuck on, Drake, it's the homies, I'm from the block, da da da. You know what I'm saying? Oh, the colors, you got the red, the blue, the Bloods, the Crips. They don't even understand the symbolism that goes way deeper than just it was a double-edged sword that was being displayed in front of President Trump. They said he was the first president to ever go to watch a Super Bowl game. And it was a double-edged sword being displayed. When they popped out, and I kept saying, I was like, man, they are about to display the American flag with the brothers, right? Dressed in the red, white, and blue. Right? Yeah, you got the red, the blue that represent, the Bloods, the Crips. You got the white that also represent, right, solidarity, surrender, right? But also the red and the blue represents the two big main political parties in America. The division of the flag, him standing in between it, and didn't wait till the end of his performance to say there's a cultural divide. You know what I mean? And it's crazy because it's exhausting. Yeah, it's so freaking exhausting being black, I swear. Because every black person who watched that Super Bowl, they dreaded going to work Monday morning because they were going to be asked, did you see the Super Bowl performance? Did you see it? Because white America needs a confirmation that they saw what they saw. Well, what did that really mean? You know what everybody knew what it meant. And if you didn't know, you just didn't know. And it goes back to this FAFO, videos that's coming out for people who did not realize that this MAGA movement was deeper than just, Democrats, Republicans, that there are some people that this is based on white nationalism. This is based on white supremacy. This is based on white evangelical churches. I mentioned that before. And so many people, it's just flying over their head. It's like, you can't see the symbolism of this all. And even deeper than that, within our own culture, there's still, what we saw was full display of unity, the Black American experience, the Black Uncle Tom with Samuel L. Jackson, the divide and generation, right? You had the Black Uncle Tom trying to gauge Kendrick Lamar, in his speech, like, hey man, watch it, this is what America like to see, the nice, the calm, don't be too ghetto, don't be too loud, that's painful. You know why? Because in our culture, the older generation have that belief that you got to be, because of their experience and how far they come, you got to be a safe nigga. That's what we call it. That's what we call it. You got to be a safe nigga. You got to be careful what you say. You got to be, don't do too much. You gonna mess it up for yourself. Be careful. Dial it down a little bit. That's what we taught from the older generation, right? And so it's like, you gotta play, you learn code switching, play the game. But even more than that was just crazy to me. It's just so crazy that, some of the dirty and the nasty reality of Black American culture is what the Black American experience has done to us within our culture. Is that the result of this supreme government influence on our reality has caused a divide within, in a hurt, a pain, not just a divide, but a deficit, which within our own culture, that yes, we are skilled enough to talk about it. Yes, we are skilled enough to dance about it. Yes, we are skilled enough to perform about it. But at the same time, we continue to have to face and fall to the knees of its demise because we're limited, because it's a game. We're limited, that the rules are continuously placed against us. The 40 acres and a mule, they don't want to talk about that. They're trying to erase a history so that people are unaware of it. It blows your mind to think that so many people are still unaware of this. That the promises that are real life promises, right? A reparation and restitution that are being made but are not being fulfilled. The lies that are all happening on our backs. Look at the display. You had Samuel L. Jackson, Kendrick Lamar, Serena Williams out there in a tennis outfit, a tennis skirt with some blue Chuck Taylors on. Y'all don't even know what that means, man. About to make me cuss on accident. With the Chuck Taylors, crip walking, champion, straight from Compton, like the levels of climbing and constantly climbing because you taught this knowledge at a young age. Like, listen, this is what you got to do. This is what you got to do. And yet we displaying the full elevation and still at the same time saying, man, skip the game, skip the system. All right, we already done played it. Now what? We're here. All while being displayed on a prison yard. The homies on the block and the street lights. And what's so cold that I ain't heard nobody mention is something that we deal with so much within our communities is colorism. It wasn't a half-breed on the stage. Don't nobody want to talk about it. But the reality is that there is so much hate that goes on within Black American culture, straight in-house, right? Between our own people. Colorism. Hatred towards the Black man and the Black woman, and not wanting to build families together, and not going out of your race simply because of love for one another, but because of self-hate. I know people that purposely go outside of their race and date people just because they don't want their kids to come out a certain color or have a certain hair texture. Come on, man. Tell the truth. This went so much deeper than what's being realized or talked about. that it pains me to even hear people talk about it and water it down to Drake. When he say they not like us, like, yo pain, your story ain't even ours. Like, we don't even, he's saying like, dude, you don't even relate to the struggle. Like, you ain't even, get out of here. You don't understand. And then when you had Uncle Sam, right? Uncle Samuel L. Jackson talk about, man, bring it down, nice and calm. You had my sister SZA come up there. He had a sister come on the stage. See, America ain't ready to face the realities of that. A lot of our own people ain't ready to face the realities of that, because sisters get done so. Sisters get it tough, get it rough, right? They not pretty enough. They skin color, they complexion, right? They hair not. Man, sisters get picked apart. Be looking beautiful as beautiful can get. And to go outside and the first thing they start to do is just pick their appearance apart. Your nose, your hair, your this, your complexion, your that. And this dude was like, no, I'm going to put my sisters on display. But then the other factor is that sisters play a very common factor, right, in the game. That they're able, we're able to speak the language, and we also have the ability to speak to our men and to calm them down. And so it went from this heightened like rah rah rah, like hitting them ba 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 ba, and then it went to, all right, I'm on stage with SZA. And there's this peace, this calming, this restoration, this refuge, right? Because we were always to be a sense of refuge for home. Like, that's what we're supposed to be. And as soon as he got refuge and restoration and gassed back up, he was able to go back out and finish what was started. Finish the messaging. Man, it was deep on so many layers. I didn't even want to go into the obvious symbolism. You know, the obvious things, the lyrical breakdowns, and the obvious things that you could just find that all over. But the things that many people are afraid to talk about, the things that people are afraid to address, like, those things were there. The amount of times that black people have heard, go back to Africa, go back to your country. We Americans, homie. Straight up. You can't deny the fact that literally he had them march and design a flag, and America was able to build its position on the black man back and in the lap of the black woman. I mean, it was incredible, and it was right there on full display, like right in front of everybody. And how could you not appreciate that? What's crazy is that, you know, and what's sad is that with a lot of these FAFO videos that's going on, and the mention of, you know, the reaction of people in these mass deportations and everything, the immigrant situation that's going on, just, you know, it's pretty much these videos are like reactions, and, you know, maybe I'll play a few of them so you can understand the full context of what I'm saying here. Is that what each person has in common is they're asking for black people to help, like, come stand with us, come help, come stand with us. And no one's they're not understanding the position right now of black Americans, which is like, I'm out of this. Because for so long, black Americans have been screaming and crying and fighting and protesting against what you just saw it on full display. The government and protesting against the system, and we've been looked at like aggressive. If we're not aggressive, we're passive aggressive. We doing too much. We too loud. We too expressive. We too bold. We too this. We too that. And so now, excuse me. Now, when Black Americans are deciding to take a back seat and saying, "Hey, I'm out of this. I'm not getting involved in this." The frustration is that why aren't y'all doing anything? But really, what should be looked at, if the flip side should be like, damn, this is why. This is why they were so aggressive, so angry, so upset, so heartbroken, so traumatized, so frustrated. This is the demeanor. This is the reaction. And if you can't see that, it's a choice. At this point, you choose not to see, you choose not to hear, and nobody can change that but you. But then the crazier part of all of this is that after watching this Super Bowl performance and watching these videos from these last couple of weeks and just, seeing everything just kind of play out, and the shift in times where I think different groups of people are starting to have different ideas and ideals about American government and their position in this nation and in this world in general. What's even crazier than that is that we need diversity. And I really believe that people are so hung up on their perception of what is needed that they miss the fact that no one group has it all. Like, as much as I marvel at the Super Bowl, Kendrick Lamar's performance and the boldness of Black Americans and all those things, even in all that, you want to know what the reality is that we can do the performances and we can feel good for a day, but you get a few of us in a room together and it's just us. It's not that easy to make things happen, because I truly believe that each group has something that the other group doesn't have. There's something that each group, each racial group, each group can learn from one another, from the gut of their experiences. From the gut of your experience, there's something that each group can learn from one another that can make this thing go, that can make this world change. None of us have it fully within ourselves to do it alone. And that's what lets me know how far away we really are from change. Because although we really trying to make it happen on the ground level, it's just the ground level. That there's groups of people in power that are so focused on holding that power, and there's groups of people that's not in power that are completely oblivious to the position of the people who are in power, to their true motive, and not just their true motive, but literally their influence and what they're doing. They're destructive power. Until we can't even find a common ground to make change happen in the way that it should be made. So I don't know. That I just if for nothing else, that was definitely one for the history books. And I mean the creativity, the symbolism, the for those who got it, man, it feels so good to know there are people who really got it and understood it. That's great. The layers is just crazy. You know what I mean? It's not just politics. We're not just talking about government. You know, even at the street level, you know, there's levels in politics and that. You know what I mean? And so, wow, just a beautiful performance overall. And it feels good to have it. You know what it feels like? It feels like your voice was heard. That's what it feels like. Like when you woke up today as a Black American, you feel like your voice was heard. Even if just for a little bit. You know what I mean? Even if just for a moment. You feel like your voice was heard. So anyway. Kudos to the Eagles. Jalen Hurts. The brother man who led his team to a Super Bowl championship. And it's crazy because I said this on the last episode. Everyone get all bent up like, why does everything have to be about race? The government, America, they make it about, that's what it's about. They break everything down to race. When you see the results, everything you see, it comes down to race. It's crazy. It's crazy. It blows my mind. It literally, this election was proven like two different mindsets on display in the cultural divide. I'm just curious to see, man, this is going to be interesting to see how this stuff continues to play out. Like even this is, it's hard times right now, but these are good times right now. Like, you know, we really are, you hear about your grandparents and different people experience certain times in history. Like we in the thick of history right now. You know, the advancing of technology and the way that technology is starting to advance, and you got cryptocurrencies on the scene. You got, like, you know, President Trump trying to make all these changes. Like even before the Super Bowl, he made mention of Canada, still trying to make Canada a 51st state. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many things that is like stirring in this pot of gumbo. It just made me think about Kendrick Lamar lyric that he said something about, I should play it real quick. I should just do a full breakdown of his whole performance, piece by piece. Today is my mom's birthday. Happy birthday to my mom. Shout out February 10th, 2025. She is a Dominguez dime from the city of Compton, California, by way of Yuma, Arizona. Happy birthday, Mama. True. My mother was a true, strong Black woman. You know, she from Compton, California. Both of my grandparents from Compton, California. You know, we eventually moved from Compton, Linwood, all the way to the LBC, where I was raised for a little bit of time. Just so grateful for my mother who do you know my mom purposely named us? Check this out. we talking about Kendrick Lamar experience and the Black American experience. My mom purposely named us so that our names would be received in during her time, so that our name, when they looked at our names, they didn't know what we were. They couldn't say, oh, this name, this is a black name, this is a ghetto name, this is this name. She said because when we filled out job applications or any application, nobody could judge us by our name. That crazy? Just to have to think about that kind of stuff back then. You know what I mean? So shout out to my mom. Happy birthday. 64 years old today. Still looking 36 years old. Because you know what they say about the black and it don't crack. Just so grateful that she was just a strong woman that stood in there. My mom would take us to libraries. I remember my mom taking me to the library. My mom would take me to Barnes and Nobles. You know, it's all about reading. For those of you who, you can't stand this messaging, you can't stand, you know, this podcast, it's your choice. You ought to read. You ought to read something. You know what I mean? You ought to read something. But, my parents, you know, my parents took me to President Bush, Lil Bush, President George W. Bush inauguration. When I was I think I was 11 or 12 years old, we went to President Bush inauguration. They just exposed us to so much. You know, my brothers had their, not even, I wouldn't say their share because they still doing their thing, but, you know, experience in the music industry. My dad was a DJ. My parents, you know, survived that was so legendary back in the day, the crack epidemic and all the hard things, LA riots, all those things. You know, we was right there in the city. They experienced a lot of that. My family experienced a lot of that. So that culture runs deep and they know a lot about it. I think I have an interview actually on one of these episodes where my parents is talking about a little bit about their story. So if you want to go back to listening to that, definitely is something to be enjoyed. But, you know, one thing about it is that we take pride in our pain. It's almost like going to the gym. You know what I mean? It's what we have, something that only your experience can make you understand the depths of, you know, of this thing. You know what I mean? And so a lot of people who are on the outside and you choose to learn, to understand the Black American experience, kudos to you. Because it is something to be understood and acknowledged, and it's rich. The culture is rich. It's just as rich as people walk around, you know, patriotically. You know, they feel so proud. You know, we have pride as well in who we are as Americans in this country, and a lot of times that's looked over. And it's crazy that it's not usually looked over by, it's not usually looked over as much by white people. That's why you do see you see a lot of Black Americans making a bid for Donald Trump. Usually it's looked over by people who are of different races, who look down on us because they don't understand our disposition or our position. And because they don't understand the history and the relationship that Black Americans have with America. And if you don't understand the relationship, you don't understand the passion. You don't understand the passion. You don't understand the culture. You don't understand the heart and the depths. And so, you know, it's going to be interesting to see if this nation will heal in an unexpected way. even under this administration that so many are just not with. So it's going to be interesting. But anyway, just got on here to say, hey, this Monday now afternoon, we're about 13 minutes into our noon time, February 10th, 2025. I'm not sure of all of the updates. I know right now that President Trump said that Elon Musk will be taking a look at the Department of Education. I know they were talking about getting rid of daylight savings times. I'm interested to see how that goes because, boy, this doesn't have anything to do with the seasons changing, but one of the things about the seasons changing has a lot to do with the time change, and so people pretty much mark those season changes on that time change. But speaking of seasons and speaking of different things, it has been cold, and this weather is something else. Y'all stay safe. Definitely try to get some turmeric and some ginger in your body, and just stay healthy. It's been a wonderful opportunity to express. I can't say it enough. I love this space. I love the Innermost Podcast. I said it before. I love being able to express myself. I love the people who love to hear the expression because I feel that you share in that expression, that you can only listen to something that you can stomach. And for those who are able to stomach my innermost thoughts, you share those expressions, and feel free to reach out in any way that benefits or works for you. But thank you so much for taking your valuable time to hang out with me, to address some of the thoughts and opinions that most often only reside in the innermost. It has been a wonderful pleasure to host you. I look forward to receiving your stories. I look forward to exchanging experiences in our communities at the Innermost Podcast at gmail.com or on Instagram at the Innermost Podcast. I hope you find enough motivation this Monday to carry you through the week. Take care. Never, ever abandon your innermost thoughts, your opinions, or your being. Take a moment to listen to some of the deep and raw emotions of some of our fellow citizens as they express how they feel regarding what we now know as the deep cultural divide that resides within this country. Take care.
This is a message for all of my fellow Southern white women. Baby, there aren't any liberal or leftist women planning to drive to the South to attack you.
Let them know.
The only people wishing they could square up with Southern conservative white women are those of us stuck here living with you. But it's not because you're conservative. It's not even because you voted for Donald Trump. It's not about politics at all. It's just because you are the fucking worst.
Why is nobody else protesting with us? We're not the only immigrants. Latinos are not the only immigrants. There's Europeans, there's from Africa, there's from Asia, there's from all over. Where are you guys at? Why are your people not standing with us? I know you don't want to call it upon you guys, but why are we alone?
Vote against their own community. And don't you see how one moment had you sitting here rubbing your hair talking about, so we so different? No, you're not. And now you're just realizing you're not different. You're a nigga with a silk press. What's happening with Latinos is horrible, but there are a few things that we need to point out. First, black people stood 10 toes down for you. We put our hand out for you. And more than half of your community said nope and closed the door on their own people.
Y'all go out there in the fields and y'all picking off whatever the trees. Let's go back to when the black folks was picking cotton. So don't tell me or anybody else that we don't work just as hard. Y'all work just as hard as us. The devil is a lie, and your whining tail and the rest of they whining tails. Y'all need to cut that mess out. When my grandmother got out there in the pea field, I got out there in the pea field. I was 7. So I know I have a hustle and grind mentality. Now that's where you stepped on my toes at. She got that tomato field. Do you hear me? So don't tell me that you feel like y'all the most hated. Boo, you're not the most hated. We black folks are the most hated and will be forever the most hated. We are geniuses. We creative. God blessed us with creative mindsets. We built stuff. We made stuff. We created stuff. Our names is on the...
You have said that you resent the idea of being called an African American, that
Yes.
you are a black American.
Yes.
Explain.
I think that when they call black people who were born and raised for generations in this country, if you accept the handle of African American, that says that you don't accept being an American American. You don't accept being born in Chicago or New York or Detroit or wherever you were born. For generations, your family has been here, you know? Built this country too. Sweat and tears and all that, you know, fought in every war, okay? So this is my country here. So I don't want to be called African American. I'm an American American. My people have died and done everything for this country.
Salutations! It's your Uncle Sam, and this is the Great American Game.
You would not get the picture if I had to sit you for hours in front of the booth. When I have a soul, even if I told you to stand next to Johnny and Q. Started with nothing but government cheese, but now I can seize the government too. Carry them to me, I brought out the facts. The revolution about to be telling. Woke up looking for the broccoli. Keep a horn on me, that commodity. IP, ownership, the blue. Pipe down, young, be some whole other politics. That's a what in them, that's a lot of what. Don't get them, we got kids with them, my apologies. Ghetto child, it was black mouths with the smeared off. We outside, water, about to kill them off. Flaps, fat, brick or raw. Tell me why you boys rap if you fiction. Tell me why you.
No. Too loud, too reckless, too ghetto.
Nobody pray for me. It been a day for me. Yeah. Hey, I remember syrup sound royalty inside my DNA. Cocaine quarter, put the war in peace inside my DNA. That's power, poison, pain, and joy inside my DNA. That's hustle, though, ambition, flow inside my DNA. Was born like this, perform like this. Yell you what you weapon, transform like this. Was shout you what you weapon. That's
See you about the homeboys with it. Yo, culture cheat code. Scorekeeper. Deduct one. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what America wants. Nice and calm. You're almost there. Don't mess this
community. Before you